The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on the manicured grounds of Lagos Premier Academy, one of Nigeria's most elite secondary schools. The air was thick with humidity, carrying the scent of freshly cut grass, mingled with the sharp tang of sweat from the outdoor volleyball courts. At the center of it all stood Aduni Duni Adebayo, a towering figure even among her teammates. At 6 feet 1 inch, Duni wasn't just tall, she was powerfully built, with broad shoulders, muscular arms, and legs that could launch her vertically with frightening ease. When she spiked the ball, it wasn't just a hit, it was a force of nature. The opposing team often flinched as she leaped, her shadow stretching across the net like a warning. The ball would rocket downward with such velocity that it left imprints on the polished court floor. But while her strength won matches, it also earned her whispers. The girls' locker room after practice was Duni's least favorite place. The moment she walked in, the chatter would dip slightly before resuming in hushed tones. She kept her head down, focusing on removing her knee pads, but the words still slithered into her ears. God, look at her arms. They are thicker than my thighs. No wonder Emeka looks nervous around her. She could probably snap him in half. She thinks she's a man or what? Duni clenched her jaw, tightening the straps of her sports bag until her knuckles turned white. She had spent years training, waking up at 5 a.m. for drills, skipping parties to condition her body, enduring blisters and muscle strains, all because she loved the game. She had thought her dedication would earn respect. Instead, it made her a target. Coach Femi Balogun, a former national volleyball player turned disciplinarian, called her into his office after practice. The room smelled of old leather and menthol muscle rub, trophies lining the shelves like silent judges. Aduni, he began, stippling his fingers. You're the best player I've coached in 10 years. A flicker of pride warmed her chest until his next words doused it. But I've been getting complaints from parents, from your teammates. He leaned forward, his voice dropping. They say you're too aggressive, that you don't let others shine. Duni's stomach twisted. I'm just playing to win, coach. Volleyball is a team sport, he said sharply. No one likes a ball hog. Tone it down or you ride the bench. The dismissal stung. She wasn't hogging the ball, she was carrying the team. Without her spikes, they'd have lost every match last season. Ifeoma Ife Nwachukwu, the team's captain and resident queen bee, saw Duni's vulnerability as an opportunity. At lunch the next day, Ife cornered her near the lockers, holding up a fitted dress. Duni! We're going to Yemi's party tonight. You should try this on. It will look so cute on you. Duni hesitated. Ife's smile was too wide, her eyes too bright. But refusing would only fuel the narrative that she was difficult. The dress was a size too small. As Duni struggled to pull it over her shoulders, the seam strained dangerously. Ife's phone was already out, recording. Ah! Look at how the fabric is crying, Ife cackled, zooming in on Duni's biceps. This isn't a dress, it's a straitjacket. Her clique erupted in laughter. By evening, the video had gone viral. Comments flooded in. Is this a woman or a WWE wrestler? Emeka, how you did survive with this one? She for go flex for Bibi Niger gym. Duni's phone buzzed. A message from Emeka. We need to talk. Her stomach dropped. She knew what was coming. The school gymnasium buzzed with an electric energy that had nothing to do with athletics. Word had spread like wildfire through Lagos Premier Academy. Ife had organized a special event during free period, and everyone knew who the main attraction would be. Duni stood frozen just inside the double doors, her stomach churning as she took in the scene. The entire volleyball team had gathered around the weightlifting platform, along with half the senior class. Emeka lingered near the back, his expression unreadable. Ife stood front and center, her manicured fingers wrapped around the microphone borrowed from the drama department. Welcome! Welcome! Ife's voice dripped with false sweetness as she spotted Dooney. Our very own She-Hulk has arrived. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Dooney's palms grew slick with sweat. Ife sauntered over, her designer sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. We are having a little friendly competition today. She gestured to the weight bench where two barbells sat loaded with plates. You versus Emeka. Let's see who's really the strongest in this relationship. Dooney's eyes darted to Emeka, who shifted uncomfortably under her gaze. This wasn't just cruel, it was calculated. Ife knew exactly how to exploit the growing tension between them, how Emeka had been withdrawing ever since the viral dress video. The crowd began chanting, "Lift! Lift! Lift!" Dooney considered walking away, but the taunting glint in Ife's eyes made her blood boil. She stepped forward. The first barbell held 100 kilograms, challenging but manageable. Dooney approached it with the same focus she brought to the court. Deep breath, tight core, smooth motion. The weights came up effortlessly, her muscles singing with familiar exhaustion. The crowd gasped as she completed 10 clean reps before setting it down with a controlled clang. Then it was Emeka's turn. His first attempt wobbled dangerously. On the third rep, his arms trembled violently before the barbell came crashing down, narrowly missing his chest. The crowd erupted in a mix of laughter and shocked murmurs. Ife's grin turned razor sharp. "Let's make this interesting," she signaled to her minions, who added more plates. 150 kilograms now. Dooney lifted it, just barely. Her muscles screamed in protest, but she refused to give Ife the satisfaction of seeing her fail. Emeka didn't even try. "Come on, babe," he muttered, face flushed with humiliation. "Just let me win this one." The quiet plea shattered something inside Dooney. This wasn't about strength anymore. It was about power, about Ife orchestrating their relationship's public unraveling. When Emeka couldn't budge the weights, the jeers grew louder. "Now only for mouth you strong," someone shouted. That's when Emeka snapped. In the empty locker room afterward, Emeka's words cut deeper than any insult from the crowd. "I can't do this anymore. I need a girlfriend, not some fucking bodybuilder." The door slammed behind him, leaving Dooney alone with the echo of his rejection. Outside, Ife's laughter carried through the halls, mingling with the excited chatter of students already spreading the story across social media. Dooney stared at her reflection in the foggy mirror, at the muscles that made her exceptional on the courts, but a freak everywhere else. For the first time in her life, she hated what she saw. 2 weeks passed in a blur of avoided eye contact and whispered taunts. "Woke" and "Amazon" became Dooney's new names in the hallways. Even teachers glanced at her with poorly concealed pity. Coach Femi benched her indefinitely. For the team's morale, the once proud athlete now sat on the sidelines, watching her teammates fumble without her powerful spikes. They still lost, but at least they lost like proper ladies. The final straw came at Yemi's birthday party. Dooney had been dragged there by her last remaining friend Lola, who insisted, "You need to show them you're not broken." Big mistake. Ife had outdone herself. The party's theme, superheroes, and there, pinned to the entrance wall, was a life-sized cutout of Dooney's face photoshopped onto She-Hulk's body. The caption, "Dooney's coming out party." The roar of laughter as she walked in felt like physical blows. Emeka stood in the corner with his arm around petite, giggling Bisola, Ife's best friend. His eyes met Dooney's for one agonizing second before he looked away. That's when Dooney ran. She didn't stop until her lungs burned and her legs gave out near a dimly lit buka stand. The owner, Mama Onkichi, took one look at her tear-streaked face and wordlessly slid a plate of amala and bitter leaf soup across the counter. "You're That volleyball girl, a voice said. Duni looked up to see a striking woman in a Northview high tracksuit. Coach Amina Mohammed, the rival team's legendary coach. Up close, her sharp cheekbones and confident posture radiated quiet authority. You played against us last season, Amina continued. That spike in the throat set nearly took my libero's head off. Duni winced, expecting another jab. Instead, Amina sat down and pushed a business card across the sticky table. My number. When you're tired of being their punching bag, call me. 1 week later, Duni stood in Northview's gleaming athletic office as Amina laid out the terms. Full athletic scholarship, starting spiker position, and most importantly, Amina's eyes hardened. A team that will treat your strength as the gift it is. The paperwork was already filled out. All Duni had to do was sign. Her hand shook as she picked up the pen. This meant leaving behind 2 years of coursework, a partial scholarship at Lagos Premier, every familiar face, even Lola. Then she remembered Emeka's disgusted expression, Ife's mocking laughter, Coach Femi's disappointed sighs. The pen met paper. Northview High's volleyball court smelled different, like fresh polish and ambition rather than sweat and resentment. Duni's new teammates eyed her with cautious curiosity during her first practice. No whispers, no sneers. Just assessing gazes that gradually warmed as her spikes tore through their defenses. You're even better than Coach said, marveled Kemi, the team's setter, after Duni landed a particularly brutal hit. For the first time in months, Duni smiled. When the tournament brackets were announced, fate delivered the perfect revenge opportunity. Northview would face Lagos Premier in the semi-finals. The morning of the match, Ify made sure to walk past Northview's warm-ups, loudly complaining to her teammates. Hope they drug-tested their new man player. Those muscles aren't natural. Donnie's hands clenched around her water bottle until Amina's firm grip on her shoulder steadied her. Let your game do the talking. The stands were packed. Scouts from the national team clustered near the front row. Even Emeka sat in the Lagos Premier section, though he pointedly avoided looking at Dani. First set, Lagos Premier took an early lead, targeting Duni with vicious serves aimed straight at her face. She blocked them all, but Ife's smug grin never wavered. Second set, Duni unleashed her fury. Her spikes came faster, harder. One sent Ife sprawling to avoid being hit. The crowd gasped. 25-18, Northview. By the third set, Lagos Premier was unraveling. Ify screamed at her teammates, at the refs, even at Coach Femi. When the final point landed, a brutal ace serve from Duni that Ify completely whiffed. The silence was deafening. Then the Northview bench erupted. As the teams lined up to shake hands, Ify refused to meet Duni's eyes, until Duni leaned in and whispered, "Still think I'm too much, woman?" The cameras caught Ify's flinch perfectly. Mama Nkechi's buka had never seen such a celebration. Northview's team packed the tiny space, laughing as they passed around plates of suya and bottles of Chapman. Even TJ, Amina's handsome assistant coach, joined in, his warm hand lingering on Danny's shoulder as he complimented her game-winning plays. Across the room, Amina accepted a call that made her eyes light up. "Donny, come here." The voice on the speaker introduced herself as Coach Ibitola from the Nigerian national team. They wanted Danny for junior nationals. As cheers erupted around her, Donny's gaze drifted to the TV above the counter, where a sports channel was replaying her match highlights. The Kiron read, "Adebayo's dominance. Is Nigeria's next volleyball star here?" Monday morning, Donny walked through Lagos Premier's gates in her new Northview tracksuit, head held high. Ify and her clique fell silent as she passed. Emeka hesitated near his locker, then awkwardly bloated, "You looked good out there." Donny didn't even break stride. That evening at Northview's final practice, Amina presented Donny with a custom jersey, number 12, same as the national team's captain. TJ pulled her aside afterward. There's this new restaurant in Victoria Island. If you're not too busy being a superstar. His nervous grin was adorable. As the sun set over the court where she'd found herself again, Donnie realized something. The very things they'd mocked, her strength, her power, her refusal to shrink, were now her greatest weapons. And this was only the beginning.